Let's get into it. It's crime o'clock, yeah, feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick-tock, won't stop, let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah, it's crime o'clock. Clock, clock, yeah. Typically new, neon signs glow, brick wall behind me. Headlines loud, but they never define me. They rush the story, skip the proof. I slow it down, let it show the truth. Files on deck, read every line. Timestamps matter, so does time. If it don't fit, I don't force the frame. Ask one question, whole story change. No fear my voice, no need to shout. Paper speaks when you read it out. If the math's off, I'll circle twice. Truth ain't loud, but it ain't nice. Yeah. Read it again. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick-tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah. It's crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Read it again. They sell a narrative if I sell receipts. Courtroom quiet, but the pages speak. Word for word, no added spin. Let it stand, yeah, let that sink in. Screenshot save, timeline's tight. Missing pieces keep me up at night. If they say alleged, I say why. If they say case closed, I say try. No rush here, we do it right. Truth don't bend for the likes of hype. If you came for noise, you're in the wrong spot. This is evidence, this is crime o'clock. Clock, clock, clock. Stay with me. This isn't background noise. This is pattern recognition. This is documents. This is crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick-tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Say it with me now. Crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Typically unique. It's crime o'clock. Yeah. If you're here, you're early. If you're listening, you're paying attention. Show starts now.
Good morning. Welcome back to Crime O'Clock on Typically Unique. How's everybody doing today? I saw you guys were in here early, clocking in early. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Skull. Hi, Jackie. Hey, Critter. Buffalo Check coming in green. I know Skull is green too, but he's also blue. Kathleen, I think you got the first bell this morning. Good morning. I saw your comment about the book club. I'm excited for that too. I gotta today. That's like number one on my YouTube list to get a section of Discord set up for that. So at least we can get in there and start just chatting about books if we want to. So, because I don't think the new book, Broken Plea, comes out until what, the 28th? So we have a couple weeks left. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, but yeah. Yeah, I also saw your comment. Your daughter said we're at war. Why are we talking about book clubs? I don't know. I'm so over it. I'm like, I've voted, I've protested, I've spoke out, I've sent letters, I've signed petitions. If people haven't heard and the people that can do anything by now haven't done anything, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I'm not even really paying attention to it. Sorry, that's the way I feel. I do have a couple updates today, and then we'll get into Idaho 4. I've got crazy thoughts about the Idaho 4. Oh, my goodness. But Rex Heuermann did plead guilty yesterday. we were only allowed, so there was no live streaming of it because it's in federal court in New York. However, they did allow a broadcast network to record, and then they were allowed to show it afterwards. So I watched some of those clips. They only showed Rex Heuermann like answering all the questions, same type of questions Brian Koberger had to answer. No one forced you. You're doing this under your own will. Yeah, Jen. I'm glad. All that stuff. So we got to hear him answer the questions, but then they had him allocute. So he pled guilty to 7 murders that were from Gilgo Beach. So the original Gilgo 4, and then 3 more that came in later that they tied him to. He got, let's see, the original 4. So he got 4 consecutive life sentences, I believe. And then for the other 3, they here's the sentences you would get, but we're not going to count them because, he already has like multiple life sentences. So, what's it going to do? Kind of like taking that off if he would allocute to an 8th victim that he's not actually being charged with. Like, they're not officially charging him with it, but he had to admit to doing it and he had to allocute all the details. So one of the things that came out yesterday in the hearing, and I'm going to be describing, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, but he admitted to the manner or the cause of death, and all of them, all 8 were strangulation. So whatever happened to the bodies, it seems like afterwards, thank God, because some of them were dismembered. So, but they died because they were strangled. So that came out about that. So his sentencing isn't until, I want to say June. I don't know, but it's a done deal. That's a done deal. Hey, Christina. Good morning. Hi, Stephen. WW. Oh, the other update that I just heard. Did you know that the Diddler, I think that name's appropriate, P. Diddy, Puffy, whatever you want to call him, is in court today under an appeal. He filed an appeal. I didn't even know this was coming. He filed an appeal because he didn't get charged, or he didn't get convicted of any of the major crimes like the racketeering and the RICO and all that. That was dismissed, I think. He was charged with the Mann Act, which had something to do with pornography, I believe. His appeal is saying that the freak-offs he had were his constitutional right, because he just filmed them because it was, how did they describe it? They described it as, what is it when you're not professional? Well, I can't think of words. I keep wanting to say mediocre. When you're not a professional, but you're doing something. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, that he was using it for, his own personal use, basically. Amateur. That's the word. Amateur. Yes, Senior, we came in at the same time. I swear I didn't look at the chat. It like popped into my head. Thank you, you guys. Yeah, it's amateur. Look at you guys. Dame Shutterbug. Hello. Hi, Jenna. Hey, I'm at that age, you just draw a blank sometimes. Oh my goodness. Thankfully, it's coming to me. I need more magnesium, I think. I need that brain power. Yeah, so that's crazy. And they think he's going to get out because if they're saying that the sentence he got, which was 53 months or something like that, he got 53 months. And they're saying that sentence was more than what should have been given for the charge of Mann Act. So, and he's already served, I guess, that amount. So he might be getting out soon. Oh my God. And then I was listening to a TMZ podcast about it. And they were like, how do you think he's going to celebrate when he gets out? Do you think he's going to go straight back and have a party? Knowing him, probably. Yeah. Is that the Stoner Detectives? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you here. Okay, those are my updates. And oh my goodness, this Idaho 4 case, I keep going 50 million directions. Okay. I see people talking about the Jack Showalter DNA. I have done episodes on that. It drove me insane. When I dug into it, I was, using the documents. I got as far as a place in the documents where it said it connected back to the house, but I couldn't figure out what in the house it connected back to. And then Amber Vance showed that video where she was reading the documents. And I swear I looked at that same exact document that she was looking at where it said item 1 in parentheses. So then I literally went to, I have it right here. I went to the Idaho State Police Forensic Services list, and this lists their lab item numbers. And it doesn't even start with a number 1. It starts with 1.1. Like it starts with 1.1. Now, when you look at the photos of the sheath, it's item 1. The whole sheath is item 1. Hi, Amy Conway. Good morning. Hey, Blue Devil. So I don't know if you look at item 1 and it's the sheath, then it does look like it's saying that Jack Showalter's DNA and that's him. I forgot to plug my power cord in. Let me grab it. Sorry about that. I move my laptop all over my house when I'm working on things. Yeah, that's what it looks like. But then I'm also suspicious, and we're going to look at some photos today. That's another crazy thing that my brain is doing, is thinking of things that, like, I'll read something, I'll hear something, and I'm like, let me look in the photos and see if I can see evidence of this. The thing about Jack Showalter was the backpack full of beer cans that's in the living room. I was trying to find an item number for that. I did not yet. So that's something that's on my list that I'm going to do. Blue-eyed butterfly. Hello. You are asking me, did I get to hear Birdie's review of Molly and the DoorDash delivery? I did not listen to that one yet because I listened to Birdie's video. I think it was the one before the Molly video, where he had his theory about Xana and Ethan's timeline. And then he started playing Bethany's interview. And that's what inspired what I'm going to share today. And I'm actually going to share that clip from Birdie about Xana and Ethan, because honestly, I don't know. I have gut feelings sometimes, and I can read people really well. I just have that, like, I don't know, it's not a power. But I just feel like I have a good gut feeling about things. And I just have I've always thought there had to have been, like, maybe not a party, but people over that night. And yeah, kind of like an intuition type thing, just a feeling. Like, I always felt like there had to have been people over that night. And I don't know, the rumors at first were like, oh, there were a whole bunch of people outside in the morning. And then I really had nothing to go on to base that. I just kind of thought that. And then when we saw the crime scene photos, I don't know. To me, it just looks like an interrupted party. So I don't know. So that's one of the things that I want to look at in the photos with you. And what was the other thing? Oh, just about Xana and Ethan coming home. So let's see. Senor Wazowski is helping me out here. I know the gum in the backpack was item 631, and the backpack is around that number. Thank you. Samples taken, and the lab was told those items were no longer needed and never tested. Well, oh, wait, you know what? I found it. I did find it. It's right here. Hi, Michelle. I have a list. Going of all the fraternities and sororities. Oh, and maybe you guys can help me out because I had initials that I couldn't figure out. All right. You want Jack D's fraternity. He's a Beta Theta Phi. Beta Theta Phi. So, I was going back through some of my old videos. Okay, let me remind me. I got to go back to, I need the name of a sorority president whose initials are RH. RH. So it's either Alpha Phi or it's Pi Beta Phi sorority because they were interviewing the girl. There's an interview about her, and it's in the first 100 sets of it, probably in the first, how far did I go up to? First 60. But her initials were RH. So I'm looking for that name. Thank you. Nomadic Duckman, quack, quack. Thank you for that, Michelle. I also appreciate that super chat. We got to celebrate those, you guys. Oh, and this is appropriate for today. Are you ready? We're going to talk about those firecracker noises. We're going to talk about those firecracker noises. Gen 7S says there had to be people over that night. There is clearly a male yelling for Murphy that nobody is listing in the docs or interviews, and that is a problem for me. That blows so many things out of the water. I know. A male yelling for Murphy. Yep. Don't make me do it. Senor is quoting SG. All right. So this is what I found. So on the ISP, I don't have my document camera hooked up right now. On the ISP State Police Forensic Lab, item number 67 is the backpack found in the living room, held full beer cans. And then under it, it says, I have it highlighted, please also test for DNA. It says it right here. Please also test for DNA. That's what it says right there. So if Senor is saying there's a report somewhere that said, nah, we don't need that. Never mind. Oh, I got to scroll back up. What number did you say that was? Was it 361? Where did that come in at, Senor? 631, you said. All right. So 631. I think these go backwards. Right. Let's see. It's not on this. I need another document. These are so confusing. All right. I will set that all up for tomorrow because, oh, wait, unless it's at the beginning of this. I have the forensic reports. Let me see if I can find that. I think it's worth it to try to take at least one thing try to take one thing to closure. I think there's another list. If there's another list, I will try. Nope. No, there is no other list. All right. So that backpack in that living room is on my nerves, and that was moved in the photos. So why? I mean, so many things moved. So okay, trying to stay focused. I watched that Birdie interview, like I told you, and so I got to rip this page out because I wrote times down that I want to use. Was it here? Yep. Close your ears if you don't like this noise. Oh my goodness. Oh, I got to do one more. All right. So, first of all, huge red flag that we have never been allowed to know Xana and Ethan's timeline. You know that the police know. They know, but they don't want the public to know. And now that we're hearing all the Sigma Chi interviews, and hearing the type of questions, the questions that they are asking, those boys, I mean, it's all about drugs and money and who are you hanging out with and all of that. And now we know that Ethan had an apartment and it was in a sketchy area. And that's another thing. Sometime this week, maybe Monday, I pulled up a map. We used Google Earth actually, and we looked behind the 76er gas station to try to see what, did I say 6-7? I didn't say that, did I? To try to find, what apartments Ethan might have been staying at. My best guess so far was the Taylor Road, whatever that's called, Taylor Avenue apartments. They're the first apartments right behind the 76er, but they don't look, if sketchy means kind of like run down, they didn't look run down to me. If sketchy means the type of people that are living in them, that could be. I was telling Dago yesterday that, like when I was in college, apartments that college kids lived in were on the streets and neighborhoods immediately surrounding the campus. As soon as you went like a block or so away or across the main street, then I said it's more like the townies, maybe college age people, but not enrolled in school. They're doing other things. So that's the kind of apartment complex I want to go back and try to look for when it comes to Ethan. But I even went back and was listening to like Maisie's interview. They were asking her the same type of questions. That sorority president that I was asking for the name for, that RH, is that what I said? They were asking her the same type of questions. So for us to be talking about drugs being involved is so far away from being a crazy idea. I mean, the cops were clearly asking about it. So let me see some of your comments. Uh-oh, what did a silly YouTuber say? Yeah, who's the 6-7 joke about? Huge problem that they haven't showed us anything about their timeline. So Birdie had a theory about that, and he used audio to come up with that theory, and I thought it made sense. I had an idea that kind of went with it too. All right, I can't find the comment that goes with that. So let me pull this up and we'll get right into it. If I'm going to use videos in my live, which I do, almost every day, I make a playlist with just that date. I'm going to have like 58 million playlists. Take a guess. How many playlists will YouTube let you create until they like max you out? All right, this one. And I want where'd I put his times? I write stuff down and then I forget where I put it. I apologize. Give me 1 second. Am I losing my mind? I'm not looking close enough. I wrote the times down. I know it was 13 something. All right, let's back this up a little bit. I know you can't see it yet. Sorry. I'm going to guess it's like right there. If not, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. All right. 67 times or 67 playlists they'll let me have. The Tanner trial. Oh my goodness. I don't know that. Okay.
With that, as we discussed in the last couple of streams. How is it that nobody brings up the DoorDash? So think of the timing of the DoorDash. Somebody's walking around their house. Like I've said, Molly was.
It's not that.
Focus a lot on Dylan because she's the one that's really seen and heard on the body cam talking about pretty much at 4 a.m. Kaylee and Murphy were dancing in the living room. We've talked about.
All right, here it is. I found it. I was at the right spot. 3. What?
As far as the timeline goes, we would all agree with that, as we discussed in the last couple of streams. How is it that nobody brings up the DoorDash? So think of the timing of the DoorDash. Somebody's walking around their house. Like I've said, Molly was wandering around. Brian Koberg is apparently parked back behind their house. There's a guy clad in black at 350 walking towards the house. They have all this information, and there's a DoorDash order at 4 a.m., which is right when all of this stuff starts to happen. Kaylee and Murphy dancing. There's someone here. Dylan hears Kaylee run downstairs. Bethany's seeing a flash or a spark, hearing a firework, potentially hears movement upstairs. And at no point do they say, hey, well, did you know that there was a DoorDash order? Did you know that maybe something that you heard, could it have been a door slamming? Could it have been, a multitude of things if they were really investigating?
He's commenting on the investigation questions. And I agree with him. Like, they knew that fact. Well, it depends what date. Oh, I had that too. It depends what date they had to find Molly. So remember that. She didn't come forward. At least Eric Gower came forward and said, hey, I was the Uber, I was the private driver, not Molly. So if you want to look at it and judge them through that lens of if you come forward voluntarily or if you're hiding, Molly was hiding. They had to find her on that oh my God, what's it called? The geofence, And once they found her, then they knew that. So maybe some of the interviews were before they knew about the DoorDash. But the roommates should have known. The roommates, they should have known. I don't know. That's weird if they didn't at all. Like if they truly never saw Xana, didn't know anybody came to the front door, then what does that mean? If, it goes two ways. A lot of people say, oh, they were never there. Well, if they don't know anything about that, maybe they weren't there. I think Ann Taylor thinks they were there, so I'm going with that. Exactly, Jen, how does somebody sneak into the house through the slider and nobody notices? Yep. All right, let me keep playing this.
And they don't say anything about that on their own ever. So that's one of the things. The second thing is if you listen to Bethany's first interview with MPD, she's very almost calm and very broad and generalized. And then when she goes back for her longer interview, I believe that you could see what I would call clear memory contamination. And I've typed out a timeline based on Bethany's series of events throughout the night. We focus a lot on Dylan because she's the one that's really seen and heard on the body cam talking about pretty much at 4 a.m. Kaylee and Murphy were dancing in the living room. We've talked about that a bunch. So I wanted to focus a little bit on Bethany tonight.
Bethany says that in her interview also. She says something about, well, I don't know, maybe they were dancing. She was singing and dancing with Murphy. And I'm like, is she just saying that because she knows Dylan said it? Because it was in like her second interview. I don't know. I don't think she said that in her first interview. But he was taking information for a timeline of what Bethany said. So I like that.
Photos of Kaylee and Maddie and her upstairs at 2:02 approximately. So everyone's awake. Then there's Maddie and Bethany letting Murphy out. There's also a rather big bombshell that is mentioned in one of the interviews, and it's not mentioned in the others, which is that Maddie called Bethany at 2:53 in the morning. So that's in the second interview, but it's never brought up.
We should say, here's what we should say from now on, you guys. We should say Maddie's phone called Bethany's phone at 2:53 in the morning. That's what we should say, because we hear that blood curdling scream at 2:27 a.m. That is the last phone call. I believe that's 2:53 is when Kaylee's phone and Maddie's phone stops being used. So if it is them, they were frantically calling Jack D's phone. That's where it supposedly connected for like 17 minutes. And then why is the last call? Again, in my mind, it's like they feel like something's going on. Something's weird. That's what I feel. And so reaching out to Jack, like not enough to call 911, but enough to call somebody you trust that you're trying to get information from, like, hey, somebody's being weird, what's going on? That's my thought. That's what I've always thought. Like, what do you know? But then Maddie calls Bethany. And is it because, hey, you're downstairs, tell me what's going on down there? These are just my thoughts out loud. But that's weird.
Up really ever again.
Love
So
Tina.
let's get into it, shall we?
I love Tina.
We're going to start with the YouTube question of the day from Bonita 62160. And Bonita asked, when did the unaliving really happen? The cover-up has to take place after the fact. The number of people being involved with the cover-up is blowing my mind. Nothing about this case makes any sense, which to me is proof it's all lies.
All right, I'm skipping this part and we are going to, where are we at? Right about here.
Just figure out, when did this actually happen as far as the timeline, and feel like we're all gaining momentum going towards something that makes more sense in the official story. Well, then we can start to sift through a lot of those lies. But Bonita brings up a really good point, and that is that the cover-up has to take place after the fact. That is more times than not true. Are there things that could have been prepped in advance to have a cover-up? I'm not sure. Listening to the difference in the interviews between Dylan and Bethany, as I stated earlier, the memory contamination seems to just be off the chart. So thank you, Bonita. It's a generalized question. I wanted to ask this because we are going to also be getting into the timeline briefly this evening. So here is the first part of Bethany's interviews, right? We have on the 13th, Bethany is doing her MPD interview. And then we have on the 16th where Bethany comes back and it's a little bit longer of an interview. So initial statement, longer interview. And Mark B, who does a lot of...
Oh, that's right. We got to shout out Mark B, because Mark B is the one who came up with this theory about possibly, it's just, you know, they won't tell us anything, so we got to speculate away, of when Xana and Ethan could have possibly gotten home, how they could have possibly gotten home, and it's based on the audio. So yeah, big shout out to Mark B for that. And Becky, you are not wrong. I feel that too. Like, we were on traction going one way, and then boom, here's some documents and some interviews. I feel like we always circle back though. So it always ends up going back to, I don't know. Nothing has taken me off the drug theory yet, I'll tell you that. Yeah, Mark B. All right. Hello, Karmic. Hello. Breakfast is here. Bacon, eggs, and hash. Good morning. Hi, Becky. Hi, Michelle. I should know what TTV. TTV Mystified. Good morning. Hi, Love Tina. Hi, Susie Littleby. Lots of people jumped in here. Good to see you guys. Please hit the thumbs up button if you wouldn't mind.
Of great film breakdown had sent birdieshivemind@gmail.com an email, and he put the title of his email, the subject line of the email, saying, quote, a theory that might make sense. And whenever Mark B sends me something, or if Mark B posts a new video, I tend to watch it in its entirety because he's very attentive to detail. He's referring to the 1 a.m. Linda Lane 1330 car park footage. And Mark gives out what he believes to be, whoa, Ethan, the group is actually heading to 1122. So Mark's theory is that this could start to piece together when Ethan and Xana got home.
So according to the Linda Lane video audio, we're listening to the audio. Mark B has the timestamps there, 1:19:35. You can hear, it's kind of like a yell, like, whoa, Ethan. And then 15 seconds later, 1:19:50, Ethan. It sounds like there's a little bit more after that. And I think he thinks they're walking, like possibly walking back from Sigma Chi, taking that shortcut up the steps back towards the house. Again, when I listen to it, I'm envisioning, for some reason, it seems to me like they're getting out of a car. I don't know why I think that. Maybe they do say that in here, but listen for that. And then he says 1:21 is when Dylan's friend leaves 11:22. So they should be crossing paths, right? If she's leaving and if Ethan and Xana are walking towards the house, then they would cross paths. And then I have it blocked here. Let me unblock it. 1:40:26. Like, gosh, that's almost 20 minutes later. You hear the long male scream. Okay, so I'm in agreement with this because I feel like by 2:27, when we hear that scream, I would think all four would need to be home. That's just my opinion. I think all four would need to be home. And I think on that 1122 footage, and I have that pulled up, we can listen to that if it's not in here. I I don't know if there's a party going on, but I think a lot of people were invited back to that house, which was common. And who out of all four roommates is known for having people over? It's Xana. Was she bringing people back to the house with her? Or was it truly only the roommates in the house and then the perpetrators just show up? My opinion is that I think there were other people in the house. There's no evidence for that. I'm just speculating.
Potentially. He makes a pretty intriguing point. Because when you refer that to Bethany's interview, Bethany is...
I didn't say hi, Dago. Hi, Dago. How you doing today? You agree, Skull? Thank you. Oh, Susie agree. All right. I'm not that crazy then. I said I have some crazy thoughts today.
Saying that when she got home, Lakeland is over at the house watching TV with Dylan, and that they take a photo, and then they take another photo later in the night. And so if Lakeland did leave, and there's a photo timestamp where Bethany's saying after this photo, she had left, I'm not sure when, and then 20 minutes later, there's a longer male scream around 1:40. Maybe there is something to this because we still don't know exactly when they got home. The other thing with Ethan and Xana is...
Oh, he's saying a scream at 1:40. All right, so I'm gonna have to listen for this. Because I was thinking of the 2:27 scream. So he's talking about a 1:40 scream. What do you guys think about the possibility that they weren't even watching Vampire Diaries? Do we have, I mean, they're saying we took a photo together, but I mean, there could be a party going on and me and my friend just duck into a corner and take a selfie together and looks like nobody else is there. Yeah, the photo documentation of this timeline is crazy. That's crazy to me. And then I couple that with their demeanor during these interviews. To me, it's not emotional, pretty stoic, just, you know, not upset at all. Those are my opinions.
So I've thought about this, and this has really nothing to do with what Mark just said, but I am curious. Are we absolutely positive that Ethan and Xana would have walked home? That's been on my mind as of late. Are we positive that Ethan and Xana would have walked home? We know that Gower's one of maybe the only private drivers or Uber drivers, but is there another car that might drop somebody off close to this time?
Hi, Sleuther.
How do we know that in the Uber ride home, if they did get an Uber ride home, how do we know that when they were pulling up towards to take a left onto King, how do we know that Ethan or Xana wasn't just like, hey, just drop us off right here? And he just almost goes up to the dead end and they just walk through the back sliding door. Xana's room and where they're going to stay is on the second floor. Did they just go through the back sliding door? And did they not have a car turn in towards 1122? I'm trying to put myself in the back of an Uber with my girlfriend and maybe being drunk, or if they don't feel good, it's just like, just drop us off there. We'll just go through the back door. I'm not sure. They weren't very far at all from the house. It's a good point. But if Xana wasn't feeling good, did somebody offer to drive them home?
So maybe I disagree with this a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I hear we're going to continue listening to it, but after I listened to this and I went like digging through things and I went and listened to the 1112, watched the video around between that 2 a.m. Was that what time it was? 2:27. Before that, you can see that there's a black SUV that pulls in. I thought it was around that time. I thought the black SUV pulled in. Yeah, I have a note here. We're going to look at the 2 a.m. audio after we listen to this. They could have gotten home. I'm thinking if they got home after Maddie and Kaylee in their SUV, and then that's when everything goes down. Mark B, hello. We're listening to your theory. 132 car did not flash on floor 3 of 1119, so not sure where it parked. Gotcha. Because I know we were looking for like those headlight reflections to know where in the back it parked. I gotcha.
Is how what kind of the way that my brain is thinking about that as a possibility. So we're going to look into Mark B's theory here. Let's go ahead, and I got this all prepped and ready to go here. Okay, so right there, I'm going to kind of I'll point them out the first time through, But right there, I do believe at 1:35, you can absolutely hear, whoa, Ethan. Okay, so I'll play it again. And I believe that you can hear Ethan again right at 1:19 and 50 seconds. So you'll hear it in about 2 seconds after I start playing it. You say, Ethan, get the bag. Ethan, get the vape. So I'm going to go back to the 30-second mark. And again, Mark's theory is that, are they walking home at this point? And are they by the whites? So just for a video.
See, when I hear that, I'm thinking, I think that's what makes me think that they're getting out of a car if they're telling somebody to grab something. I don't know, unless they're coming out of an apartment around there and, you know, reminding somebody to grab something. I would think it would have to be like in a car, or I don't know. Mark is saying the voices quiet down around 1:23. Okay.
Visual. I will pull this up because this sometimes helps me, even still, to really look at where this sound could be coming from. So we have right now, we are looking at, you know, this right above where, oh, here we go, right here. And if they are by the whites down here, are they walking up through here? Okay. You know, they cut across the Banfield and come up. Are they walking down the stairs and heading towards King Road? This would obviously be if they were on foot. So at 35 seconds, listen.
I know when you look at that Google Earth view, like I was thinking, would you really hear that far over on the Linda Lane? But when you see photos, it's so compact. Everything's just right on top of each other. So yeah, that really doesn't give it justice for how close everything is. Plus, everything's echoing off of everything because it's all buildings and alleyways. We'll blind you with light. Hello, welcome in. Yeah, if you're when you're drunk, you're yelling, you're talking loud.
For whoa, Ethan, and at 50 seconds, listen for Ethan again. There you hear Xana too.
Okay. Clearly hear Xana. Clearly hear Xana there.
Okay. So what I really like about Mark B's theory is that he's trying to establish when did they get home. I like the thought process of, are they walking back? And maybe not looking through every little thing that we hear on the audio, which I'm guilty of doing in the past, as nefarious. Could this be a drunk group of college kids that are loud and they're heading home, or they're heading to a different party? Did they just leave the Sigma Chi party? Okay. Bethany will also talk about when she leaves. Did she see them? Did she not see them? And so we're going to listen to this one more time. And
all right, before we listen to it one more time, I'm so mad at myself because I read so many reports and listened to so many things this morning. I told you I'm like 50 million directions. The last known whereabouts of Xana and Ethan are like, what is it, 12:45 a.m. at Sigma Chi? Is that like the last time somebody says they see them there? It's somewhere around that. Okay. So them walking home or whatever at this time makes sense. I know I read an interview. I don't know if it was Bethany. Somebody said they left. I don't think it was Bethany because when she was at the Sigma Chi party, she said she went to the main party. I think she said she went with Y. Is that Yessie? Someone said they left to go to the Whites, I believe, a party. And the initials of the people who were throwing that party were like B. I know one of them was a B. B, D, and A or something like that. B, D, and K. There were, in one of the interviews I read, someone said 6 to 7 parties going on that night in that area. Bethany said when she walked home that one was still going on, and I believe she said it was at the Whites. The Whites, I'm going to back this up just for a minute to look at his Google Earth image again. They would be closer to the Linda Lane camera, right? So if the camera is here, instead of them walking, can you guys see what I'm showing? Yes. Okay. Hopefully you can see my mouse. I have a pink arrow. So instead of them being over here walking, are they like, what if they were in this building? You know, that's so close. Again, because it sounds like, I don't know. It just doesn't sound like just walking to me. It sounds like getting out of a car or at an apartment, you know, grab this, getting ready to leave from there. I don't know. Definitely outside. Are you answering me, Dago? No to what? No to what? Hi, Smiling Sleuth. They say BF saw E and X at Sigma Chi from 9:45-ish, but how did she see them at 1:45 if she walked home at 12:30? I'll have to listen for that. Yeah. At 2 a.m. on an interview, someone takes a photo with Xana. I think they went to another party. I'm thinking they went to another party. And there was a party. I think it was at the Whites. All right, let me go back. It's here.
Okay, so Gurmilla, good question. And I'm going to let this play for a couple of minutes. And so 119:35. Well,
This is going silent on its own. It's not me. Up at the top of the screen, I don't know if you guys can see it, where the timestamp is. It's 1:20:32 a.m. behind the fence. Is that the White's building right there that you can see? Like, is it that close? If you're on your phone, it'd probably be hard to see unless you turn it sideways and get it full screen. Hunter Chapin states in the Amazon Prime video, they left his apartment at 1:45 a.m. Well, we're hearing their names being yelled right here at 1:20 a.m. So isn't that interesting? And I should have lined all this stuff up. I apologize. I promise I'm telling you the truth. Maybe it's in Bethany's interview. I don't think they were in Hunter's apartment. I always assumed they were in Hunter's apartment, but I was listening to something and they said they were in, I want to say, is there a JP? Definitely a P. I thought it was a JP. And I was like, who's that? Like, I think they were in a different apartment. When they were at Sigma Chi, I'm talking about. When they were at Sigma Chi, I don't think they were in Hunter's apartment. I thought that, I just assumed that because it's Ethan's brother. That's the east end of the Whites. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. They're definitely not at Sigma Chi, and I don't think.
Okay, so Gurmilla, good question. And nothing was visible as of right now in 1112, so they have to be held within that vicinity, right? Well, it also could be the reason why maybe this time frame is muted on 1112, because at 1:40:26, so this is now 20 minutes later. Okay, and we're going to kind of be bouncing back and forth between this and Bethany's interview, because I really believe that, I'm not saying that we haven't tried to put Ethan and Xana at home, but would you all agree in the chat that maybe there hasn't been as much of an emphasis as there should be on 50% of the victims? I've said that many times.
I agree with that, but it's because we haven't had really any information to try to do that except deep diving like this, like listening for sounds and stuff like that.
I really like to start to put out a lot of thought power and brain power into when they got home, because I think that could really, really make a difference. And there's so much other stuff that we tend to get distracted with that I do think that, it's worth looking into some more. So now at 1:40 is when we hear these loud screams. So 140, 140.26 right here.
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Did you guys hear it? He's probably going to play it again.
So that sounds further away. It sounds quieter, but I fully believe that that is absolutely a scream. I'm going to play it one more time. It's right after. So it'll come up at 26 right here at the top. Watch the second hand in the time. 26, right after 26 passes. Listen closely. So now let's bounce on over to Bethany's interview. And I have it synced up to where, excuse me, she starts talking about the timeline.
I was going to switch over to just using the released interview of Bethany and going through it just myself because I wanted to analyze it. But since he's doing this in a focused way, I hope he's okay if I keep showing this. I wasn't planning on showing his whole video, but I want to see how he's comparing. I didn't realize he was going back and forth and showing her interview and going back to the clips. And I think that is probably going to be so telling. And then I'll be able to throw in what my thoughts were as we go. Thanks, Dago. I know. Thanks. Yes, get your headphones. 140, 26, 28. Thanks so much for being here, Mark B, and sharing all of your information. Thanks for the link, Dago.
Okay. What happened after that?
Then I came home and we watched Vampire Diaries for a little.
And they were already watching it though when you got there? Okay.
And then left.
Remember about what time she left?
I did not. After 1:21-ish.
Why do you say that?
I just have a picture with them at 1:21.
With?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when you're referencing these times, you're able to recall them because you have photos? And so, you know, when you say it's after
when
this
it's like
time,
a specific time.
Are your photos timestamped?
It's just on Snapchat, so it says like when you hold it down, it will say like,
It'll show what time
it was. Yeah.
Okay, so it shows what time the photo was taken or what time it was posted.
What time it was taken.
Okay.
You say it. Yeah.
Okay, so then and that's how you're refreshing to see the time periods that you're giving us on your photos?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So, and left shortly after you took the photo at 1:21.
She left after that photo.
Okay, so
I
you
don't
guys
know
took,
how
you took the photo.
further
Okay,
along, but
and then she left. What happened next?
And Maddie and Kaylee came home. Well, went to her room and I was just watching the show by myself.
And her room is on the main floor, right?
Yeah.
Right
So it's
next
like
to
right
the
behind the
stairs.
couch.
Okay.
And then Kaylee and Maddie came home.
Do you remember what time that was
Around 2-ish.
at? Okay. Were they by themselves?
Yes.
Did they say how they got home?
I remember them mentioning something when we were upstairs of how they got home.
Okay. So you get home.
Okay. So now here's where I want people to really start paying attention. In general, she said at 121, her and Lakeland, even though sometimes I swear when they cut it out, I hear like a J for Jenna, but Lakeland, Dylan, they're watching Vampire Diaries. She takes a photo with them. When did Lakeland leave? She doesn't remember. What time did Maddie and Kaylee get home? 2-ish. And did they mention how they got home? And she goes, they mentioned something, but I don't remember.
That drives me insane. She did say that. She said, not exactly like that. But these cops don't. Do they not? I know I see a lot of people say, like, when they're doing these interviews, it's like, it's more like seeing what people know and what they don't want said than trying to get the real information. I mean, I'm just being honest. That's what it sounds like. That's what it seems like, because there's so many important answers that get given, that are given, and then they don't ask further questions. Hey, Tomboy Charm.
That's a little bit weird, right? So how did they get home? Well, and somebody refresh my memory. How quickly did the grub truck video footage come out from Olivia? Does anybody know? Because if this was on the 16th, I know that grub truck footage came out very, very quickly. So does anybody know the exact date, or could somebody track that down just for reference? When did the video surface?
I forget what his point was about that.
And then came back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on Kaylee's bed, just hanging out.
She doesn't mention Dylan. That's a great call out.
Let's rewind that a little bit.
Yes.
Did they say how they got home?
I remember them mentioning something when we were upstairs of how they got home.
Okay. So you get home.
Okay. So now here's where I want people.
So that's Kaylee and Maddie. Okay. Oh, they came home. Oh, do you remember how they got home? Yeah, I remember they said something. Oh my God. I need a thing to like head smack.
People to really start paying attention. It's around 2:15 or 2:13. I apologize. 2:13. The DoorDash is ordered at 2:15.
Yeah, he's right. He's going through the timeline. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to like. Let's see. I apologize. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay. Were they by themselves?
Yes.
Did they say how they got home?
I remember them mentioning something when we were upstairs of how they got home.
Okay. So you get home.
Okay. So now here's where I want people to really start paying attention. In general, she said at 121, her and Lakeland, even though sometimes I swear when they cut it out, I hear like a J for Jenna, but Lakeland, Dylan, they're watching Vampire Diaries. She takes a photo with them. When did Lakeland leave? She doesn't remember. What time did Maddie and Kaylee get home? 2-ish. And did they mention how they got home? And she goes, they mentioned something, but I don't remember. That's a little bit weird, right? So how did they get home? Well, and somebody refresh my memory. How quickly did the grub truck video footage come out from Olivia? Does anybody know? Because if this was on the 16th, I know that grub truck footage came out very, very quickly. So does anybody know the exact date, or could somebody track that down just for reference? When did the video surface of the Maddie, what did you tell Adam, and the grub truck footage with the private driver come out? But yeah, I think so too, Terry Dawn. I think it was in the first week or the first few days.
It was very fast. All right, I found something I want to show you guys. I don't think we just heard. So Bethany just gave her account of coming home, correct? When she got home, when Dylan was already there, went to her room and all of that. So maybe he didn't play the part. He didn't play the part of what she said about Sigma Chi. So maybe we need to go back and listen to that, because I have her written report pulled up. So listen to this. So here's her, and maybe this is her first interview. I don't know. What date is this? Let's see. This is Dustin Blaker interviewing Bethany Funk on November 13th. Okay. So this is her first interview, and it says right up here. So she went to the Sigma Chi party at around 20-30 hours, which is, I looked it up, you guys, because I always mess up the military time. It's 8:30 p.m. with Ethan and Xana. They hung out in an apartment for a while together, and then Bethany went up to the main part of the fraternity to hang out at the party. Maddie and Kaylee went to the corner club together. She's not sure when they left. Bethany did not see Ethan and Xana at the party and left to go to KF residence at blank Taylor Avenue. So Bethany left to go to a party at KF's house. Who's KF? Is that Kai's last name? What's Kai's last name? Anybody know? KF. I'm looking at my frat boy list here. Oh, no, Kai Davis. It's not F. Duh, I knew that. Could be a girl, I guess. Could be a girl. Oh, did someone just answer me? Yeah, so who's KF? Who's KF? Just wondering whose house she went to. Kelly Farley? I just thought of that, you guys. But listen, how crazy would that be if Taylor Avenue is over by where the sketchy apartments are, where Ethan lives, and Kelly Farley is there. Kayla Franklin. Okay. Oh, is that the frat initials that the sorority? Nope, that was RH. Nope. So, whoops, I wrote it in the wrong spot. So KF, you think is where are we at? Kayla Franklin? Okay. But my point is that I don't know if Bethany says that in every one of her interviews. Is she saying she went to this party before she went home, or is she saying she just went from Sigma Chi straight to the house? And then Bethany walked home at around 1-ish. It doesn't say what time she left to go to this other party. Okay. Just adding to the timeline. Thanks, Dago.
Around 2, you're still watching Vampire Diaries. But from our conversation earlier, then.
And thank you, Camilla. Dylan also texted Eric asking if you're still driving. So what Dylan describes and what Bethany describes, they get home around 2-ish. Dylan's saying that they were trying to figure out to get something to eat. She's texting Eric if he's still driving. That's around 2:15 or 2:13. I apologize. 2:13. The DoorDash is ordered at 2:15. Bethany's stating that they were home around 2. Now listen to the following sequence of events.
I remember them mentioning something when we were upstairs of how they got home.
Okay. So you get home around 2, you're still watching Vampire Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
But from our conversation earlier, then you go upstairs?
Yeah, then come back, and then me, Kaylee, and
Wait a minute. She said she got home around 2? Is that what she said? Or is this one of those things where the cop changes it? Is this one of those things where the cop changes it?
Main floor, right?
Yeah.
Right
so
next
it's
to
like
the
right behind
stairs.
the couch.
Okay.
And then Kaylee and Maddie came home.
Perfect. Okay. So, and left shortly after you took the photo at 121.
She left after that photo.
Okay, so
I
you
don't
guys
know how
you took the photo.
further
Okay,
along, but
and then she left. What happened next?
then Maddie and Kaylee came home. Well,
Oh my gosh, you guys. How is she someone probably said this already in the chat. How is she taking a photo at 121 if she doesn't get home till 2? Am I hearing this wrong?
went to her room and I was just watching the show by myself.
And her room is on the main floor, right?
Yeah.
Right
so it's
next
like
to
right
the
behind the
stairs.
couch.
Okay.
And then Kaylee and Maddie came home.
Do you remember what time that was at?
Around 2-ish.
Okay. Were they by themselves?
Yes.
Did they say how they got home?
I remember them mentioning something when we were upstairs of how they got home.
Okay. So you get home.
Okay. So now here's where I want people to really start paying attention. In general, she said at 121, her and Lakeland, even though sometimes I swear when they cut it out, I hear like a J for Jenna, but Lakeland, Dylan, they're watching Vampire Diaries. She takes a photo with them. When did Lakeland leave? She doesn't remember. What time did Maddie and Kaylee get home? 2-ish. And did they mention how they got home? And she goes, they mentioned something, but I don't remember. That's a little bit weird.
She doesn't even say the
Right?
I don't remember part.
So how did they get home?
Something.
Well, and somebody refresh my memory. What?
So those of you that came in late, I pointed this out at the beginning of the live that at least Eric Gower came forward and said I was the driver, because I was talking about Molly, they had to find her. She did not come forward. So, I mean, at least there's that.
How quickly did the grub truck?
So we already talked about the grub truck.
Logical progression of the girls are with Jack. They get their food. They get into the car with Eric Gower. They get home around 2-ish. Then Jack, I don't know, does he come back? Then they're all sitting up in Kaylee's room. They take a picture. There's Keystone beer. So I'm not sure, but it seems like a logical progression in my.
I mean, Dylan brings a friend home with her. Xana and Ethan would be the type of people Xana like to have parties. That's why I don't think maybe it was a full blown party, but I think maybe people came back with them. They could have brought people back with them. Bethany could have been with Kai Davis. We now know that a lot of Delts would be in that house. Jack Showalter's been in that house. Hunter Johnson's always there. Emily's always there. Kaylee was supposedly talking to either Mason Barstow or Eric Runge, one of those two. There might have been someone else I'm forgetting. I don't know. Oh, okay. Thank you. Her avoidance style. Yeah. Yeah.
Ahead.
Around 2:02.
Around 2:02. And did you, when they got home, did you guys go straight upstairs or?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Really. What I can remember. And then we were hanging out there for a little while Kaylee was like getting ready for bed, I believe. And then we went, or Maddie and went downstairs. I can't remember if Kaylee.
Dude, she's not saying Dylan's name. I don't believe she said Dylan's name at all. Listen to this. So me, Maddie, and who went downstairs?
And then we went, or Maddie and went downstairs. I can't remember if Kaylee came.
I mean, it sounds like she's starting to say Dylan, but why are they blanking it out? Did they blank it out earlier? Let me just back this up a little bit. We were watching. Okay. Right here.
And me, then she came back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on Kaylee's bed, just hanging out.
Me, Maddie, and Kaylee were all on Kaylee's bed. Right? Is that what she said?
Out from Olivia. Does anybody know? Because if this was on the 16th,
sorry,
I know that grub truck footage came out very, very quickly. So does anybody know the exact date, or could they?
Oh my gosh, Birdie, we keep asking about the exact date. I'm trying to get past that. Let me see.
Around 2-ish. Dylan's saying that they were trying to figure out to get something to eat. She's texting Eric if he's still driving. That's around 2:15 or 2:13. I apologize. 2:13. The DoorDash is ordered at 2:15. Bethany's stating that they were home around 2. Now listen to the following sequence of events.
I remember them mentioning something when we were upstairs of how they got home.
Okay. So you get home around 2, you're still watching Vampire Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
But from our conversation earlier, then you go upstairs?
Yeah, then she came back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on.
Oh, right there. So on the screen, if you're looking at the closed captioning, it says then me, then back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all blank. But I think she's really saying then blank came back. And when I listen to it, you have to put it into context. Who came back? Well, the only one not there is Xana. And I feel like that's what she's starting to say. Then Xana came back. Then Xana came back. I don't know. Now I'm telling you what to hear, but that's what I hear. Let me.
Around 2, you're still watching Vampire Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
But from our conversation earlier, then.
And thank you, Camilla. Dylan also texted Eric asking if you're still driving. So what Dylan describes and what Bethany describes, they get home around 2-ish. Dylan's saying that they were trying to figure out to get something to eat. She's texting Eric if he's still driving. That's around 2:15 or 2:13. I apologize. 2:13. The DoorDash is ordered at 2:15. Bethany stating that they were home around 2. Now listen to the following sequence of events.
I remember them mentioning something when we were upstairs of how they got home.
Okay. So you get home around 2, you're still watching Vampire Diaries. But from our conversation earlier, then you go upstairs?
Yeah, then came back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on Kaylee's bed, just hanging.
What do you guys think that says? If it's Dylan, then Dylan came back? Because she had said Dylan went to her room. Me, Kaylee, and Maddie. Me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on Kaylee's bed. She doesn't say Dylan. Unless it's Dylan came back. Xana came back. Lakeland came back. I mean, who's coming back? Ethan came back. I don't know. What do you guys think? She's very calm. Hi, Mike. Mark is saying a lot of focus on upstairs, hiding something downstairs. Yeah. Play it one more time for sure.
Thank you, Gramilla. Dylan also texted Eric asking if you're still driving. So what Dylan describes and what Bethany describes, they get home around 2-ish. Dylan's saying that they were trying to figure out to get something to eat. She's texting Eric if he's still driving. That's around 2:15 or 2:13. I apologize. 2:13. The DoorDash is ordered at 2:15. Bethany stating that they were home around 2. Now listen to the following sequence of events.
I remember them mentioning something when we were upstairs of how they got home.
Okay. So you get home around 2, you're still watching Vampire Diaries. But from our conversation earlier, then you go upstairs?
Yeah, then came back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on Kaylee's bed, just hanging out.
Doesn't it sound like she says a J here? I'm sorry to keep stopping it, but I got to get your guys' thoughts on this. I swear she's saying a J, not a L.
Me, came back, and then
our conversation earlier, then you go upstairs?
Yeah, then came back, and
then Jack came back? Did she just say then Jack came back?
Could be.
So you get home around 2, you're still watching Vampire Diaries. But from our conversation earlier, then you go upstairs?
Yeah, then came back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on.
Then me, Jack, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on the
Vampire Diaries. But from our conversation earlier, then you go upstairs?
Yeah, then came back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on Kaylee's bed, just hanging out.
She doesn't mention Dylan.
All right, I will slow it down. Wait, what was this doing? Oh, there. Okay. Do that.
So you get home around 2, you're still watching Vampire Diaries. But from our conversation earlier, then you go upstairs?
Yeah, then came back, and then me, Kaylee, and Maddie were all on Kaylee's bed.
It's completely cut. It's completely cut out. Like, that didn't help. That didn't help. That did not help. Oh, well. Oh, well. Anybody else think that you're so close to it? You got 1,000 subs, Skull. Woohoo! Yeah, it's taken out. All right. Let's see. We'll finish it on normal speed.
Doesn't it sound like she says a J here? I'm sorry to keep stopping it, but I got to get your guys' thoughts on this. I swear.
Okay. Remember what time that you put Murphy out?
No.
Was it fairly soon after this 202 thing, or was it much kind of like a half hour, 25?
All right. I want to get to the firework now. All right. We're going to get to the firework. We'll just listen to this.
She could, but I'm just thinking through if it wasn't. That's really what I was trying to get across. It could be Dylan.
All right, I got to do this because he's throwing me off because he's giving his scary.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we
and I've got some things I want to talk about now. So let me pull up this one. Thank you, Christie's. Let's make
Long ago,
the
probably like either a week. It was Xana. I don't know if I mentioned this too. Once, it was maybe like a week ago, I was in my room and I was getting ready for bed, and it was early in the morning, like 1, maybe 2-ish. And I heard like a scream outside my window, and I got really scared, so I called like everyone in the house and no one answered because they were asleep. But I called one of my friends and she picked me up, and I slept at her place.
Isn't that weird? I don't even know if this is the same interview I was showing. I think it is, but I think I'm farther in the timeline. I just started it from where it was. Woo! These girls. So, remember the comment about, well, we just deep cleaned last week for Parents Weekend. I saw a photo of the toilet in Xana's bed, the bathroom that her and Dylan shared. That toilet had not been cleaned in weeks and weeks. So they did not do a deep clean the week before. That toilet was not clean. Yeah, it is the same video. Thank you. So they're just, this seems like another thing to me that she's trying to get ahead of. Well, there was another time when they all didn't answer me and I got scared and I called my friend to come pick me up. The ring around the toilet. Yes, it was nasty.
It was around 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. I actually might have just called Maddie, but
You said it was a week prior.
yeah.
I don't know if I have to go forward or backwards to get to the
Who
right
came and
way.
picked you up?
My friend.
My friend Jenna.
The screen, does it sound like either a male or a female?
All right. I am going to the part now where she talks about the firecracker. There we go. We'll do it here. We'll listen to the events. Listen to that.
Maddie took Murphy out to pee. And I was out there for like 10 seconds and like put something away in my cabinet and then grabbed some chips. And then I went back downstairs to go to bed.
Okay. Remember what time that you put Murphy out?
No.
Was it fairly soon after this 2:02 thing, or was it much kind of like a half hour, 25 hour?
I honestly have no idea.
Okay. Time a little fuzzy on
Yeah.
at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Good. But you do remember being up there for a while, at least long enough for Kaylee to get completely changed.
Yes. Yeah.
Did Maddie change during that time period too?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. So then, go ahead.
When
Oh my gosh. She can remember that that Kaylee changed her clothes, but Maddie's in the room with you, but you don't remember if and you're going outside with her. Like I would remember if, oh, it's weird. Maddie's going outside in her pajamas. She's going to freeze to death, because it's freezing out there. I don't know. Sometimes we have to listen to what they don't say. Hi, Jasper the Jester.
when you saw them come home, was there anything about their demeanor or behavior that was different?
They were really happy. That's all I remember.
What was their level of surprise?
I was probably the drunkest I've seen Maddie in a long time, in a while. And I don't know about Kaylee. She can.
But you said you hadn't seen Maddie that drunk for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. She doesn't usually get that drunk.
But you couldn't tell it, Kaylee.
Not really.
Okay. So after you step out for 10 seconds, she grabbed a few things and then went downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do when you got to your room?
I watched the show for a little. I don't remember how long I watched it though. And then I just went to bed.
And the name of that show again was?
Baby Daddy?
Do you remember the episode?
No.
And how are you watching it?
On my iPad.
And was it through your Hulu, Netflix? Hulu? Okay. And is that a Hulu account you have?
Yes.
Is it your account that you pay for, or is it your parents?
My parents pay for it.
Okay. How much of it you think you watched?
I don't know, because I don't know if I started it, I already watched some of it and then started it again.
Do you remember finishing the episode and then you falling asleep, or did you fall asleep during it?
I shut off the computer and then went to bed. That's all I remember.
Okay.
So I thought I was tired.
So, computer or iPad?
Oh, iPad, sorry. I just use it as my computer, so.
No, it's fine.
While I was watching it though, Maddie came down and knocked on my door, but it was locked. And she asked if I had Murphy with me because she lost it. And I said no.
Was that shortly after you started it, or quite a ways after you started it?
Don't you think that's something that the police experts that they use would be able to corroborate that with the steps taken? So there should be a lot of steps taken by Maddie coming downstairs, going outside with Murphy, coming back in the house, going downstairs, going back upstairs. I mean, lots of steps for Maddie.
I don't remember. I would say shortly after.
Do you normally lock your door?
Yes, I lock it every night.
Okay. What's the next thing you remember?
And then the next thing I remember, I woke up because I heard like a firecracker type noise. Then I saw like a little sparkler or something under the door. And then it like kind of went out. And then it's all like, I don't know, I was still half asleep and still pretty like, I don't know, tipsy, I'd say.
All right. So here's where I'm going to get a little weird, maybe, but I don't know what that firecracker thing is. So do we just take it at face value? And she says it was a firecracker. It's a firecracker. My first reaction to that was it's never, but she didn't say fireworks. Firecracker is just, I don't know. We always say it's never fireworks. It's always gunfire, so I always thought that. But the thing that gets me is the sparkle, right? I don't know anything about weapons, so I don't know if any of them are capable of producing something like that. And even if it did, I don't know if it would be at floor level for her to see under her door. So I pulled some clips. I'm going to show, and I started down this path, seeing somebody mention an airsoft. Okay. And then I looked that up. That's like a BB gun to me. Okay. A type of a BB gun. So, and again, I'm going to talk and show about these weapons right now for our research purposes for this channel of true crime, trying to figure out what might have been used in this case. So that's why I'm showing this. They're not full-fledged anyways. They have to do with fireworks. So starting with the airsoft, I was like, no, that's not it. It doesn't have any type of spark or anything like that. So then I started looking up things that had to do with firecrackers. Okay. So here's one thing that I found. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. Where'd it go? Oh my gosh. There it is. Okay. The loudness before he makes the firecracker go out is the it's like a welding thing that's what's making the noise. It's what he's lighting it off of that's making the noise. So that sound would not be heard, but now, do I think it was shot like this? I don't think so, but she did say also that she thought something came downstairs. Like it came downstairs. I think this is a ridiculous thing. Like this, a hitman would not use something like this. And why would you have something like this? Only for a distraction, right? So the only thing I was thinking was if you're disrupting the party or something coming in. And then if someone's using like this, then I think it's like crazy college kids that have these things. And trust me, when I was in college, this is way back in the day, but a friend of mine lived in, what did they call them? It was 2 quads connected by a bathroom. So 4 guys lived over here and 4 guys lived over here. This was in the dorms. And then they had a bathroom that connected them. And they shot fireworks off they were shooting them through the bathroom from one room to the other. Like, they do stupid things. Okay. So if it was fireworks, which is what she's saying, that sounds like stupid college stuff to me. Another example. I just found a few of these just to like, and then that one probably wouldn't be at ground level. Oh, sorry, it's not showing. Whoops. I don't know if it's that one. Yeah, it is. All right, this one kind of made the most sense to me because it could come down the steps. It could go from like over by the door towards over down by Bethany's room. It's a delayed like pop and it had a flash. Like it had a flash like a flame. So I don't know what these kids are making. And it doesn't have to be in this gun that they're holding. It could just be thrown. So then here was my other thought. And I'm just going with what we're getting out of the interviews. It sounded like a firecracker. It sounded like a firecracker and I saw a flash. Okay, so we just looked at what the flash is like. Let's watch it one more time of what the flash is like. And firecrackers would be much more like, I don't think you would start a fire in your home if you're letting off a firecracker. I told you I was being crazy, so just roll with me with this. All right. So enough of that. I wanted to show, let me find these. I think it's this one. Am I still sharing? I'm not sharing. Okay. So I wanted to look at, you know how all those cans were all over the house? Oh, let me look that up. If you were to put a firecracker into the end of a beer can laying on the floor, what would the beer can like split open? 3D printed guns are an issue in Idaho. What are they like do they shoot just like do they shoot just like a regular one? No. So I'm just looking at things and let me get my list of photos. First floor batch. This is batch 4 of the photos. Share my screen. Batch 4. And I'll just go with is this batch 4? Yeah. It's not what I want. Let's try this. Oh, now I'm going to get so frustrated. I wrote batch 4 of the photos, and that is not what is showing up. What was I looking at? Let me look. I apologize. 1 second. I've got them all pulled up, so it'll just take me a minute. This doesn't even go that high, so it's got to be these. Nope, they don't either. It's got to be this one. All right, let me pick another number. 271. All right, here we go. I found it. Okay. The police officer did ask, the detective interviewing did ask about the cans that were left all over the house. Okay. And Bethany said she just remembered the case of the Trulies or whatever they are. And there is a box down here of that. She said that's what she remembered. And he's like, well, were there cans all over the place? And she's like, yeah, there usually is. But the thing I noticed is like, okay, so first of all, I get leaving your apartment a wreck for the weekend because you're partying. But if you're partying, like if I'm drinking while I'm getting ready, my cans are going to be on my vanity. The cans are going to be on the bathroom sink because I'm getting ready. The cans are going to be on the end tables in the living room because I'm sitting and drinking. The cans are going to be maybe on the ledge in the living room. The cans are going to be on the counters in the kitchen. I mean, who throws beer cans and Truly cans just down on the ground? I mean, that is so unrealistic to me. I don't know. I don't even do that like outside. Like I just you know what I mean? Like this was weird to me. And they are almost all of them are stepped on or crushed. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. So I just went through the photos. We'll just look at them. The ones that I marked. So this is coming in the front door. And this can is facing towards Bethany's hallway. And I was just thinking, like, what if there was a firework? Like, I don't know. If a lot of times people put things in cans when they set them off. I don't know. So that's the only time I'm going to say 271, 272, same one. Okay. All right. So then I went looking for, bear with me. Even the investigator asks Bethany, would anyone have set a candle up on the ledge? And so the only ledge is at the top of these steps. You go up the first floor to the living room, and then there's that ledge. And she said, no, people would only set cans up there. Okay. So unless all these cans just got knocked down. So that's an idea. Maybe all of these cans were originally set on the railing because people are up there drinking. And then when the chaos ensues, they get knocked down. I mean, that could happen too. But since the investigator was asking about a candle, and it's when Bethany is talking about the firecracker. Okay. She's talking about the firecracker. He says something about a candle being on the ledge. And I'm like, they're really trying to figure out where this like light came from. So then I was like, do they see a burn mark? Is there a burn mark up there? So then I started looking for burn marks in these photos. Just tell me I'm true. So while I was doing that, this is the front door. Can you guys see this? Yes. Okay. So this is the front door, which was supposedly locked, right? Let me blow this up so you can see it. Okay. This is I don't know what you call that. That is the hole that the lock goes into. And it looks very, if someone was, I know it was a pin code. I know it was a pin code, but that pin code box, all it does is release the lock. So I would imagine you could still force the lock, couldn't you? I don't know. Are they better at withstanding a forced opening? Because this really looks like someone dug in there to like flip the lock back. So just noticing that. So there's the other side. Now that's the one that the top one they didn't use. It was the bottom one they used. All right. So here's another can crushed on the steps. And then if you watched my live, was it yesterday where we talked about Frat Boys, the book, the novel? I think that's what it was called. I showed a story about kids in college who had this drug ring, and they had something going on with, I think somebody's nickname was Fireball, or there was something with Fireball. So I noticed this on the steps, and I'm assuming it's one of those glass Fireball bottles, although there's something about this that looks different to me. So I was also looking for evidence of firecrackers. I'm telling you, that's what I was doing after hearing the interview again with the firecrackers. If this is a mini shot bottle, it looks deformed right there, and that just could be because of the perspective or whatever like that. So assuming it's a shot fireball, or I don't know. Is it something that was discharged from a firecracker? I don't know. They're plastic. The packs of Fireball are plastic. I always think I'm going like, I don't want to go like tinfoil hat or something. I don't want to go crazy. I know this case has made us all crazy. I'm trying not to go that far, but if you have a witness that's talking about firecrackers, I'm trying to figure out the firecrackers. I didn't say that. I didn't say firecrackers. She said it. And if nobody's willing to call it a gunshot, and there's no shell casings talked about, and there's no holes in the walls from bullets, then what was it? I mean, it was something. It was something. And I do not believe it was a Sensi getting broken. Not from another room down the hallway. Like, no. And yes, I did try to find a video of that. I did try to find a video. Maybe I'll have to do my own. Maybe I will have to sacrifice. I won't do a Sensi, though. Those are too expensive. I will do a dollar store. I will do a dollar store thing that looks like the one in the spare bedroom and break it and see what happens. You and Fireball broke up a long time ago. Yeah, those were college days, man. However, it was a very great coincidence. Like, almost like, was this a symbol type thing? That's what we all thought when we were watching the story yesterday. Yeah. All right. So 290. I'm just going to flip through these real fast, point some things out to you. I know wait, what did I mark there? I keep blowing this up. I got to shrink it. Oh, this was the other side of the door. Okay, this is good to see. So this is the front door. Okay. And I know that we're not talking about the top part. I know that. Come on. Okay. So the top arrow, we're not talking about that. That's old. But the bottom part, you could see. Oh, but see, it's on the inside. Oh, no, wait. Is that. Where's the inside of the house? That would be the inside. So that doesn't make sense. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's the inside of the house. That doesn't make sense. There's another can crushed behind the front door. There's a can in the bathroom. Oh, and I thought this was interesting. There's the Fireball bottles downstairs, which is interesting that there's so much downstairs, right? So much like drinking going on downstairs in the hallway. Wait till I show you this. So here's the shower curtain. I was just zooming in on everything. There's the shower curtain. It doesn't look red to me. It's probably rust or mildew, but it is kind of interesting that it's just right there. Again, I was looking for like anything that looked burned or singed or anything like that. So I don't know if this is. But there's a can right there. So I was thinking if the can had something in it, I don't know. Probably would have caught the curtain on fire though. So that's ridiculous. I've always been curious about this thing right here. Like if that's a heating vent, why does it look like that? Like what's inside of that? Is that a filter? I've never had one that looked like that. Like what's inside of that? Also looking for stash spots. Oh, here were some marks on the bathroom floor. That's probably tissue. That's probably just the coloring of the floor, but I was just looking for like if a firecracker went off, you would have paper laying around, although there was a cleanup, so probably not. Let me skip down to, whoops. Okay, we're going upstairs now. 2 more cans. Weird that they're facing the complete opposite way. So I was looking for burn marks. This is on the steps going from the first floor to the living room. This is not a leaf in my opinion. I've like blown it up, and so this is like blown up on like 300 and some percent, and then I'll put it on normal for you. I really don't think it's a leaf. So did all this stuff fall? Did all these cans fall from the ledge upstairs? Maybe. Especially if there's blood on that half railing and people were getting like thrown against it or something like that. See, here's a better shot. So yeah, that was a Fireball bottle right there. That is a Fireball. Yeah. Okay. $3.90. Whoops. All right, here. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you in the living room. Some of the things that are moved around. What was I looking at here? Oh, I was trying to look at the half wall. I don't see any burn marks. Like, I don't know why the cop was asking about that. I think I see a burn mark on the railing, like going up to the third floor, which is kind of weird because that's not a stable thing. So all right, this potato chip bag is in a bunch of different positions. So remember yesterday when the documents came out? And the very first set of documents was like the manuals of how to conduct an investigation. And it went into everything, like the crime scene handling, what you should do at the crime scene, things like that. Just that alone, there's so much evidence. The stuff being moved around in different photos, it's insane. And I know we all know that, but here's the bag, like almost flat opened. You're going to see other pictures where it's crinkled up on the couch. Wait, am I going the wrong way? Maybe I'm going the wrong way. Same thing with the bag with the beer in it. Also, when they interview Bethany, she says that this pong table is like over here, kind of pushed along the cart. So going straight, close to this bar cart. Not like this. Not like that. Oh, wait, I was going up. Go up. Okay, so this right here is the bag that has the beer cans in it. So I'm going to be on the hunt for finding that number. Well, I know one of the numbers, and in the report they said please test for DNA. So they wanted this tested for DNA because it had full beer cans in it. Okay, there it is. You can see the beer cans. So now the bag is here. Whose purse is this? I mean, I guess when you come home, you just dump your stuff in, but I just don't ever remember hearing whose purse was found in the living room. Anybody know? Oh, I just showed a remote controller for Xbox. Hi, Roxy Tucker. See, I love doing this because sometimes you just stumble on things. Let me look. Xbox for a controller for an Xbox. Where? Lots of socks in this room. Socks and shoes. There's like flip-flops there. I never noticed those before. This looks like, let me blow it up. Looks like an electrical. I think that's an outlet. That's like a an outlet thing. This thing? I don't think so. These are remote controls. I don't know what that is. Anybody know what that is? It's not a controller. Did I miss it? I know they they moved so many things, but let me go back up here. There's just a couple I wanted to highlight that are important because we're looking at them in the crime scene. Don't know whose purse this is. Don't remember hearing about a purse in the living room. I mean, this boot is in like 55 million different places. Socks everywhere. See, this is normal. This is normal partying clutter to me. Like my drinks, like we know they had the mimosas in the morning, like right here, right? Set my drink down. I'm going to set my drink down. That's normal. I don't know what this is. This looks like a computer tower. That's what that looks like. And I don't know what this is. What's this? Is it like a router? Is this a router? That's probably and then that looks like a computer. Okay, this pink cup laying sideways. I think this green box gets moved around. This stain is interesting. There's a better view of it. Okay. Oh, wait, those are two different boots. So boot there, boot there. Did I show the cup laying? Sometimes the cup is laying down and sometimes it's straight up. Like right here, I think. Let me see. Just more cans. I don't know. To me, it looks like an interrupted party. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind when we find more information. So I can say yes or no either way. All right, I went down to 390. Let's go to a couple more. 519. Okay. This is the railing going up to the third floor. And again, I was just looking for burn marks because of what the police officer said and because of the firework. And this was the closest thing because I can't tell if that's like, if it's flat or if it's almost like a hole. I don't know. And that's a leaf. That's a leaf. There's a different angle of it right here. I don't know. It sticks out like a sore thumb, I'll tell you that. What if it's a bullet hole? That would be weird though. That would be like a straight down shot. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the firecrackers. 530. Oh, this was interesting. What do you guys think about this? This is up on the third floor outside of Maddie's room. The purse was Kaylee's. Thanks, Seahawks fan. More evidence that she was in the living room. But this discoloration in the floor right here, it almost looks like there's tape on top of it or something. I don't know. It's just really weird. It's very discolored. It's not lined up like it's a piece of the board. I don't know. Just weird. I'm like, it's too perfect to be like if someone was cleaning and like bleached it and it faded. I don't know. It's very straight lines. But I was just picking out weird things. Oh, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, but this has to be like a crawl space, like an attic crawl space. No, these aren't new pictures. I'm going through Hi Living Dead Girl, going through and like I was talking about Bethany. We were listening to the Bethany interview and like the firecrackers and what is she talking about. So I was trying to find like evidence of that, trying to figure that out because we don't have anything to go on. You have one. That's what I was thinking. A lot of times I have one in my garage. And I actually, if you guys want true crime safety tips, I padlocked mine shut. I have watched too many Frogger videos. If you guys don't know what a Frogger is, oh my gosh, you can Google it, but I warned you. I warned you first. So yeah, I drilled a padlock into mine so that it can't be opened unless you have the key. Yeah, but steps come out of it. Usually steps come down out of it. But when you're thinking about if there's places to stash anything, again, because I know some of you just joined later, it's quite clear that the investigators were looking at a drug angle with all the questions that they were asking. So, I was thinking about that. I've been thinking about that. That's been my number one motive possibility since the beginning. And now I'm just scrolling through these photos. I started with the purpose of looking for anything burnt, if it was like fireworks or something like that. And then I just started looking at things and going, what's that? What's this? And so I just thought I would share. Okay. So yeah, interesting crawl space for hiding, for stashing. Yeah, they don't know any of the local drug dealers, CAO Kane. I was just reading an interview. I was going back through old interviews and they had a tip called in, literally, about someone associated with a Mexican cartel. Like literally, it was, I forget what report number it was in the Moscow Police Department documents. They asked, and this is supposed to be somebody in town. They asked all the Quad City Task Force. They asked the Sheriff's Department. They asked Washington. Nobody heard of him. And I believe his initials, it definitely started with an O or a C. And I can't remember the last initial. I'd have to go back and look. But it was someone whose name started with an O or a C. All right. I only have a few more marked. $601. Well, that's not right. That's not what I wanted. And then one more over here. Is this batch 2? Nope. 1, 3, 4. Is it this one? It's got to be this one. Nope, this one. Oh, no, I'm going to stop there. I did. The last photo that I was going to show was one of the ones from outside in the parking lot, and they were showing Ethan's Jeep, and it shows like how the Queen Road apartments are like right on top of their parking lot, like right on top of their parking lot. So, okay. At the beginning, we were looking at, I was sharing Birdie's episode that he did on Mark B had used the Linda Lane audio to come up with a theory because we don't know when Xana and Ethan got home. And the time frame was like, oh my God, I forget what it was on there. 120 something to 140 something. And you can literally hear Ethan's name being yelled and Xana's name being yelled on the Linda Lane camera, and the whites are right there. So are Ethan and Xana walking home from Sigma Chi and cutting through that walkway? I kind of thought maybe that was a little too far away. I also thought more like, to me, it just sounded like they were in one spot for a little bit and maybe getting out of a car or near an apartment. And I know there was a party like all night at the Whites on the second floor, but it wasn't Emily's. It was someone else. I think the initials were B and D. There were 3 initials that lived in that apartment. I could have that wrong, but so were they there? Were they just over in that area? There's a chunk of time from when Ethan and Xana are last seen at Sigma Chi, and then no one knows when they got back to the house. Sometime before 11 a.m. No, before noon the next day, they get back to the house. And that's just so crazy to me. There's got to be, that must be why the things they're hiding. That seems to be the one thing that we just can't get any information on. So weird. So yeah, I was thinking a lot about that today, just why their timeline. I kind of think that it's Bethany saying that Xana got home because they redact the name. You can't tell what it is. Some people think she says Jack came back. I think it's Xana came back. It could be Dylan came back, but I don't know. Dylan was either supposed to be in her bedroom or up in the bedroom with them. So there's questions about that. I went through the crime scene photos trying to figure out, because we were getting this timeline about Ethan and Xana from Bethany also. So then listening to Bethany's interview talking about the firecrackers. And that just drives me nuts because like I said earlier, I think it's not fireworks, it's gunshots. But then they're not saying that's the way they were killed. So then okay, then it's fireworks. Why are there fireworks? So I was looking for evidence of fireworks. And then noticing some other things that were in the photos, but I do think that Xana and Ethan came home. I think they came home right around that 2-ish. Everybody wants to say 2-ish time. I think that scream at 2:27 is all of the roommates being home. There's a lot of people on that audio, that 1112 audio. Even before the scream. So either a lot of people just showed up at that house to do what went down, or people came back with them. Because I kind of think this in my mind, that they all brought different people back home at around that 2:00 time. And then someone busted in with maybe firecrackers. I don't know. And like cleared out the house, but kept the roommates. I don't know. Just thinking of scenarios. Roxy Tucker, you are saying thank you for going through the pictures again because I have screenshots of the living room with a black suitcase in front of where the modem on the floor was and some green thing. I know the green thing you're talking about. I saw that photo. I know the green thing you're talking about. I'm like, what is that? It looks like it doesn't look like a box, right? I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the suitcase though. I don't remember the suitcase. The suitcase could be from the crime scene investigators, but they're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to do that. Hi, Hemi. This was all a dream to us, Seahawks fan. From what BF said, DM and a friend of hers was at the house when she came home. Yeah. That's that. Yeah. There was a friend there. Yep. We went through all that. So I don't know. I did not prove that there were fireworks in the house. I do think those videos were interesting though, of shooting them. I'm going to go back to the interviews. I am going to keep searching for information about Ethan's apartment. Hey, babe. Carlos is in the house, everybody. You're going to think that I'm crazy hearing all this. What do you think the firecrackers were or are? Oh, you'll send it to Discord? Awesome, Roxy. Thank you. Get him, Seahawks fan. Get him. Hey, let me and Carlos know in the chat if you want us to come back and do a video together again. Carlos, free BK. I love this community. I love that. We have to laugh sometimes because we go crazy. Like today, I feel like I was going crazy, but I don't know. I am going to clock out for now. And I'll be back tomorrow at 11:30, clocking in to talk more true crime, more Idaho 4. And I think now I'm going to turn my attention to the documents that came out yesterday. They're super informative as to the ones that came out show the prosecution side, but you can tell what the defense and the prosecution are claiming in all of them. So thank you, Mark B. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Michelle Tatum, I don't think I got to say hi to you. Lots of people came in at the end. I'm sorry if I didn't see you to say hi. Hi, Microdot. Something coming down the stairs with enough light for BF to see under her door. I think it's a firecracker. Like, honestly, I think it's a firecracker. I just can't find evidence for it. They cleaned up good. All right, you guys. You have a great rest of your day. I know Dago is going live to talk. Are you doing Enon today? I think you said that. Dago, that's going to be so interesting. Or a flashbang. Yeah, I'll have to look those up. Carlos went mute. Carlos is working. He just pops in to say hi. So yeah, you guys, we're going to go dive into Enon. Enon. I say it wrong. Over at the True Crime Cafe with Dago. So I'll see you guys over there. And have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Clocking out. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Subscribe. It's free and keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time. Same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. Unique, yeah. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. We dig deep with crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. It's free, it keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew, now right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. Yeah, that's you and me, that's you and me. Don't forget to like, hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear.